this is Kerry Patterson interviewing Jacki Parry on 18th of January 2012. So first of all, Jacki, just to talk a bit about the materials and processes for your show. Can you use a lot of handmade paper in your work? Can you tell us how you've used it in your new show?
Sometimes I pour the pulp, as you can see in those pictures that you saw when you came to the studio. So I pour the pulp and let it dry. Really, it's like a print of the surface.
Is that where you pour it onto the mesh to make the flat
pour it
sheets?
on different kinds of surfaces, any kind of surface with different types of mesh. And I use quite a high shrinkage pulp for a lot of the work, which is beaten in the beater for quite a long time, and it takes in a lot of water, and then it shrinks a lot in the drying, and it tends to shrink with a certain amount of translucency.
So you've obviously done a lot of experimentation into the way the pulp kind of reacts and changes when it dries.
I still like mucking around with that.
So that method is how you've made the paper for the large floor piece? Is that right?
Yeah. The large floor piece, there's a smaller one called Ocean as well, which you've seen. But these works, which the paper's been cast first of all, and then it's been cut, and then it's been stitched and constructed to form I suppose a kind of curtain, really, to form a surface. It's also dimensional, but they started out because I had a lot of strips of paper that I'd used for an installation some years ago in Salisbury Cathedral, and it was sitting there, so I decided to use this paper again, so I just recycled it basically, but without remaking it. I just started cutting it up and stitching it together to see what would happen. So there's kind of a simple structure there.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the background to the floor piece?
Yes, I suppose it's thinking about movement,
so you've met
rhythms in landscape, which is something I've been interested in.
Like working on the floor, is that something that you've done before?
Yes, I've made large pieces, and mainly, unless I'm going to have a show in a big space, I don't just in the studio tend to make large scale pieces because there's no point unless you've got a platform to show them. So it's such a beautiful space, the Print Studio Gallery, and the lighting there is very good, and I just wanted to make something to go on the floor. But
can you tell me a little bit about how you use printmaking in your practice?
Well, while I'm not making prints a lot of the time, just about everything I do, I'm thinking in the studio, I'm thinking about making prints. So, for example, when I made the memory weavings, I was thinking, what can I do to make something that I can then make a print from or with? I really love black and white, working in black and white. I tend to, for the most part, think about making prints and monochromatic etchings.
So in this show you've got a photo etching that you've been working on in the studio, is that with Ian, and then screen printing with Scott, and digital work as well. So is that the three
digital work?
three elements.
Yes, and then the photo etchings that are the memory weaving ones as well. I like working in the print studio, and I'm reminded of it when I am working here. I just love something about printmaking.
Do you feel your work benefits from being in the environment of the print studio?
Yeah, well, I think, I'm sure it does. I get, get ideas for other things, and I like the process of it.
You obviously are, quite keen to experiment with, the digital and the more recent, developments like in digital printmaking that we've been able to take advantage of.
I like some of those things, and I'm really curious to see what's going to happen when I take this double-sided screen print and cut it with this digital laser cutting machine. So I'm looking forward to that.
When we visited you in your studio, one of the things that you showed us was the tissue box that had belonged to your mother. So I know that's something that you've been working on in the print studio. Can you tell us a little bit about the box and then the ideas that, the works you developed from it?
Yeah, so it was just, my mother had Alzheimer's, and she used to write on things to remind herself of who had phoned her or what she'd had for breakfast, or if she could remember that far, or increasingly recalling memories of sayings from her childhood. And we encouraged her to write these things down, and so did people who were coming in caring, other people who were coming in caring for her. The box was sort of written all over. When she eventually had to go into full-time care, and we were cleaning out her house, I came across this box and I thought it was an intriguing article. And after she died, I got it out one day and I just decided to photocopy it in black and white. And then, I don't know, how do you decide to make two photocopies and start weaving them together? I don't know, but that's what I found myself doing.
And so then that developed into the photo etching,
and then the photo etching was another aspect of that. It's just the back side of the box opened out. When I'd been making the weavings, and then when I made the photo etchings, the small scale photopolymers from the weavings, I realised that they were all horizontal, and suddenly it was as if I discovered the box standing up, and it became a sort of more sculptural object. It seemed to, on the one hand, relate to furniture, but it was also like a screen. And the fact that it was vertical, I mean, if I could have, and I might yet do it, I'd like to make it like the size of a wardrobe or something. I'd like to make it as big as I am.
So really the works that you have in the show relating to the box are just perhaps the beginning of something you're going to continue?
Yeah, just a continuation of things.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for that, Jacki.